I have a mannequin that used to be my size, but you see, you can only adjust it so far. So I need to adjust this mannequin to fit my body. The bust of the mannequin is fine. I need to increase the waist by 3 inches and the hips by 4. What I'm using to increase the waist and hips are pieces of batting. Rather than cut the tops of them, I just kind of tore them because this part will lay flat, whereas this part will be still nice and fat. I'm using a garbage bag, and I'm going to put the garbage bag on top of my mannequin. And the reason for that is because I want to protect my mannequin from the tape. I'm going to take the plastic bag, and I'm just going to lightly spray, nothing major. I just want to lightly spray some of the spray glue onto the waistline as well as the hip. Now I'm going to take my pieces of finding the waist, which is right here. We're going to lay that there on top of the waist. And I'm going to stretch it around. And you see when I do that, it sticks. Now I'm going to take another piece and put it kind of on the inside because my tummy's a little bit bigger. Now we're going to turn around to the back portion. Have another piece of the waist. This time I'm going to take a little bit of spray glue and I'm going to spray it right here on the batting because I want them to lock in place on top of each other. I'm going to turn it and do the same thing on this side. Turn the mannequin around to the back. Find the waist measurements, a little sticky. And lay this around. And when I lay it, I want it to touch here. And then I'm going to turn it and pull it tight until it touches on the other side. Alright, so now we're ready to do the same thing on the hip. I've seen many videos using the duct tape to make the mannequin, but none of them really resonated with me. But Venezia Lois, thumbs up. She did an excellent job and she inspired me to do my own based upon some of the techniques that she used. So you have to check her out. So I'm just going to take a marker and I'm going to find the waist measurement, which is right here. And the hip is right here at the end, of course. We start by putting a piece of duct tape on the waist. And I'm putting it kind of loose because it's going to eventually get tight. I'm going to keep wrapping around the waist, wrapping the shoulders and between the bust, kind of making an X. I'm placing a second layer over that first layer, and I'm going to cross the bust, kind of going outward until I finish and reach out to the shoulders. Now I'm going to turn the mannequin and wrap the bust at the same time. Next I'm going to wrap the upper bust area, and I want to ensure that I enclose the armhole as well as the shoulders. Now I'm going to finish off the bust area. Now that the bust is wrapped, I'm going to move down to the waist, and I'm going to continue wrapping the waist and the hip area until all the batting is covered. Now I can't forget about the neckline. I'm going to finish wrapping it until I've got it completely covered. Now to finish the neck, I'm going to use strips of duct tape to make sure that I've got it completely covered all around. The waist is off about 1 inch and the hip is off about 1 inch because the tape compressed it down. So I'm just going to take one piece starting at our waist and coming down. So I'm going to cut this off or just tear it. And then I'm going to measure it and do the same thing so that I have 2 pieces. Then spray glue it. And I'm going to stick it right about there so it takes on the waist. I'm going to do the same thing for the other side. Now I'm going to take the tape and I'm going to go back around this area. And as before, I'll turn the mannequin, wrapping it as I go with the tape until all the batting has been covered. Now I'm going to cut the duct tape mannequin up the center back, and I'm going to open it to remove it from the mannequin. So here's my mannequin. Open it up, and of course she reveals the bag and everything inside. So what I need to do now is I need to seal this up. Using the duct tape strips, I'm going to seal up the back of the mannequin. Now I have to build up the armhole. I'm going to place the armhole on a piece of cardboard so that I can trace it out to get a pattern. Now I'm going to cut out the armhole piece. I'll take this piece of cardboard that I cut out from the armhole and I'm going to insert it into the mannequin to form the armhole. I'll now need to cut a hole in the duct tape so that I can fit the cardboard in the armhole. Now that I've cut the hole open, I can insert the cardboard into the opening, and this will allow me to shape the armhole. Now I'll simply tape it in place. I'm going to repeat the same thing for the other armhole. I have much wider shoulders than the average person, so I need to extend this out 3 inches. I'm going to cut the back open. I'm going to take a piece of cardboard and I'm going to cut it about 5 inches, and I'm going to take the top of this and measure it to the neckline to round it off around the neck. So I'm going to go in here and I'm going to take one side down just like that, close to the edge as I can. So now I'm going to measure, and there's my 3 inches right there. So I'm going to put a piece of tape down right there on that side. And I'm just going to go ahead and cut this back open. So I just opened that back up. And I want to make sure that I've got my 3 inches. So now that I've got that done, I'm going to now take my duct tape because I want it to really hold in place. And for starters, I'm just pulling off a couple of small pieces. And I'm going to put them on top of where my tape is. Okay, bring that together there. And so now I'm going to take this one down. So now you see I have my gusset put in to extend my back. And I'm going to put a piece here. Kind of hold that in place and make the adjustments. Now before I start working with the neck, I got to get these shoulders squared. So I've taken an old yardstick, and I know that my shoulders measure 17 inches. So I'm going to take my pen and I'm going to mark 17 inches. And now what I'm going to do is I'm going to take my X-Acto knife and I'm going to score it. When you score it, you get a fairly clean break. Good thing I have utility scissors so I can just cut off that excess. So now what I'm going to do is I'm going to take this and I'm going to put it inside to square off my shoulders. So I'm bringing it up to the top. As you see, I've got the wood piece in there now, so now it's going to keep my shoulders sturdy. So now what I'm going to do is I'm going to rebuild up my neck. I'm taking some pieces of stuffed paper, and I'm stuffing them up in there. So I'm going to go up in there, and I'm going to push all that back up to the top. And now that that hole is filled, now I take the duct tape and run pieces across it. So now before I mash that down, I'm going to go back up inside and I'm going to push that paper up in the corner up in there so it gives me back my neckline. Alright, so I'm going to build this up in the back so that it's not a dip. And to build that up, I'm just taking some paper and I'm putting it on top right there. Filling in the gap and just putting the tape on top of it. Now we're making everything flush instead of having that dip. That keeps my back nice and smooth and even. I want you to see the hole inside of there. I don't know if you can see that, but there's a big old hole. And we're just going to stuff it with pieces of paper like this and batting. This stuffing came from an old unused bed pillow. And this is what I'm going to use to stuff my mannequin cavity. Now I'm stuffing a little bit at a time because I want to go in there and I want to shape up the bust area. So you just keep stuffing. You make sure you get the arms. You want to stuff everything tight. Oh, and don't forget to stuff the neck. Then we're going back up and stuffing around where we have the our little stick coming out. And as you can see the bust starting to take shape. See the definedness of the bust down into the waist? So I'm just going to keep on stuffing until I finish stuffing. See, the neck is nice and firm. The shoulders are nice and hard. So now I'm going to continue on stuffing. And then I'll come back and let you see what I do in the bottom. Okay, my body double is finally stuffed. Now I have to close up the bottom half. I'm going to place my mannequin on this piece of cardboard. I'm going to trace it out, you know, so I can get the shape of the bottom. And I'm going to use this as a pattern for my foam board. Okay, so I have my foam board cut out. I'm going to measure across and try to find the center, which this is 7 inches here. This is the pole that comes with my mannequins. I'm going to put the pole on top and trace out the hole. Not the best hole, but that's pretty much what we got. Using my X-Acto knife, I'm going to cut out the circle. Okay, there's my hole. So once this goes up in there, all of the stuffing and stuff that we have up in there, that's what's going to stop this from going any further. I'm going to take a little piece of duct tape. Using some pressure and some small strips of the duct tape, I'm just going to attach the base to the mannequin just to kind of hold it in place before I tape it around. I'm going to take a piece of batting because I got a little gap right there. I'm going to stuff that in there. I'm going to go around with my duct tape. Okay, so now I'm going to come across and go on top of my bottom, because now I want them to overlap. This will give me a nice finished bottom. Okay, now we got that done. We're just going to take the bottom and just smash it down like this. And trust me, it ain't going anywhere. Okay, here is my duct tape body double. I wanted you to see that the mannequin turned out pretty good according to my measurements. This is actually one of my dresses. You see that there it's hooked, it's zipped, the belt is wrapped around. There are no pins tucking this anywhere. I'm going to add the jacket that goes with it. I think it turned out great. I hope that you guys enjoyed my duct tape mannequin, and I hope that you would try this. Happy sewing!